First question. Do you remember your England debut, and do you remember how you was informed about your selection?
Yeah, we went. Well, I don't know whether this is actually on record, but we went over to the South Sea Islands to play as England Knights. So yeah, we played over there. We went and toured Fiji and Tonga for 3 weeks. Played in a game against the Fijians in the second test, and that was my debut. Excuse me, I don't particularly remember how I was told, Dan, if I'm honest. About the tour. The tour was easy enough to be told about, but I'm not sure when I was told on tour about when my England debut was. But yeah, that was it. A proud moment. I still got the shirt somewhere in lockup in Hull somewhere where I've rented my place out. So yeah, I'll have to dig it out when we find a spot.
Is there any names that stand out that you played that were picked alongside you in that squad in England?
Yeah. Every single player that played on that tour played at least 50 Super League games.
Yeah.
Every single one. So the late Rob Burrow was on there, Danny Maguire, Gareth Ellis, Sean O'Loughlin, Mickey Hyam, to name a few. Yeah, there was some very, very, very good players on the tour. As I say, that every single one of them went on to play at least 50, probably over 100 Super League games.
Yeah, love it. Next one's I've wanted to speak to you about this because obviously I was sat on the other side of the fence to it. Do you look back on the 2006 grand final with any regrets? Does it still hurt? And would you have done anything differently?
Yeah, I think having read something what Richard Agar put in my autobiography about the finances at the club and what was happening at the club. We had a big meeting with the directors at the time. We felt we were being unfairly treated, and if I had my time over, I would probably not have that meeting. I would probably, although we were right, I just felt it took away from the focus of the game. And listen, losing the game's no fun. Let me assure you that. I spent 4 months in a really dark place, Dan. And it still pains me. I watched the game back once with Adrian Durham when I wrote my autobiography, and he made me watch it back really because I've not watched it since. It's a painful memory and one which, if you could take anything back, you would want to win that game more than anything.
Yeah. Is it, when you watched it, was you very self-critical of yourself, like looking what you could have done differently and how you could have got the Hull side across the line?
Yeah, we started okay. We almost scored. A funny story in it, and I know it's not probably funny, but Gareth Rayner had some new fluorescent boots, and I mentioned to him before the game, I says, let's hope to God that you don't put a foot in touch when you're trying to score a try, and the video ref can see it really easily. And after about 4 minutes, I threw him a pass, and lo and behold, the fluorescent boots are on the try line, on the touch line when Paul Wellens hits him, and it's easy to spot. Listen, I'm not to say it wouldn't have been spotted, but that was a funny story with it. But it's very self-critical. I copped it from the coach when we got back after pre-season. We sat down and reviewed the game. Just before half time, I turned out for Leon Price's try, and the player inside me, I won't name, but the player inside me told me to go. And the gaffer absolutely ripped into me. You don't turn out, you don't leave your inside shoulder until you know you have to turn in there and make the tackle. If he throws it outside of you, then the outside have to deal with it, but you don't leave the scene until... Yeah, and I copped it big time. I argued back a little bit because, and the player who told me to turn out did the same and said, "Listen, I told him to go, boss." And ultimately, he ripped to me a new arsehole, to be fair. So yeah, I was. There was a few. After half time, I think Saint scored just before the break, and then just after the break, and it was game over. Then we only scored 12 against them in the game to reach the grand final, which they won 12-8. I think we scored 8, they scored 12. So once they went out to a 12-score lead, I don't think there was any catching them.
No, and to put it into perspective, it's no mean feat either. They were that current year, 2006, were the two best teams in the competition, and that Saints team of 2006, the treble winning one, is probably going to go down as one of the best of the Super League era. So it was just a flip of a coin, because I watched the game earlier in the season where you travelled down to Nolte Road, and that was equally as intense. I can't remember the final score now.
Listen, they lost 4 games all year, Dan. They lost by 1 point to us, 2 points in another game, 3 points in another game, and 4 in another game.
Yeah.
So they lost all season by, 4, 7, 9, 10 points.
Yeah.
So they lost 4 games by 10 points, an average of 2.5 points per loss. So,
yeah.
Listen, they were a hell of a team, by the way. I still believe they're the greatest team that I played against in the Super League era. And I played against the Bradford Bulls, all conquering, the Leeds Rhinos dynasty in the 2000s. For me, they were just phenomenal all over the field. When you look at it from Gardner, Melly, Talau, Sean Long, Kieran Cunningham, Fassavalu. Yeah, they were Gilmore.
It was star-studded, wasn't it? And they also had a young James Graham and young James Roby in there.
That's right. Yeah.
But I thought I'd start off with the tough one because the next one is much better for you. What did winning the Challenge Cup in 2005 mean to you personally, which ended a 23-year wait for silverware at Hull FC? That must have been an immense moment.
It was big. It was huge for us. John Keir, God bless him, was the mastermind behind it with the Mr. Motivator, if you like. Richard Agar and Andy Last were phenomenal in the staff of technically getting us ready, particularly for the semi-final against that St Helens team you talk about of 2006. Many of them were still there in 2005 when we beat them. But to win it is something you dream of as a kid. I've always grown up watching the Challenge Cup. I've told this story many times. There was a school, like a community centre around the corner from where I lived on Long Hill in Hull, and there was a picture of Bobby Goulding holding up the Challenge Cup, and I pinched it, and I pinned it on my wall as a kid, and I kept looking at it as a child, just to reiterate, one day you would love to lift that trophy. So, to be able to do that and to end that 23-year drought, the only regret, small regret, is that it wasn't at Wembley. It was when Wembley was being redeveloped. It was at the Millennium at Cardiff. So, I never got to climb them iconic stairs, if you like, and lift that iconic trophy. But one thing you can't take away is that we did win it.
When I was actually watching it, the dummy half, he throws it right to Richard Horne, and then he switches back to yourself, who obviously goes through the gap. And I think, is it Danny Ward who gets caught sleeping? And the celebration made me laugh because I thought you need to put this ball down at some point to before you get tackled into the dead ball line.
Yeah, it was Richard Swain. I thought he was the Lance Todd Trophy winner, as it is. I thought he was phenomenal. Sinfield ended up getting it, but they picked it about 2 or 3 minutes before the try. So Richard Swain throws it to Richard Horne. I was sort of fuming that the ball had gone that way because I'd called the overcall, which was freeway at the time, and Horne had it, threw it back, and the rest is history, as they say. I've took so much stick for that, for not putting it down early enough, particularly from Adrian Durham, who uses expletives with "put the effing ball down." It was a moment that I'll never forget, a moment that I'll always remember and savour, and it's something that cannot be taken away from you.
No, it can't. You're in a unique group of people who've lifted that famous trophy. We'll go on to the last question of Question Cookie. After you moved over to Hull KR, everyone knows your story. What is the best fan sledging story that you can tell us?
There's a brilliant one. Listen, I used to go out with a group of people on a Monday. We used to have a Monday club. There was Sean Dinsdale, Mick Spare, Mark Chaplin, and Andy Leddingham, and we're walking down Prince Avenue in Hull. And I'm walking down Prince Avenue, and I just said, "You fucking cunt," out of the car window. And all 4 of them stopped and turned round, and I carried on walking because I knew it was for me. And lo and behold, in the back of the car window was a massive big Hull FC flag. So that just makes me laugh. It was funny as they all pissed themselves at it because they knew they had no idea that was normal for me.
No.
So walking down the street, that was just normal.
You just get a bit immune to it.
I used to walk from home to a chiropractor because they had a back injury and a hamstring, like a slight hamstring strain at the time. and I just used to put my earpods in because I knew full well that it was coming. It was only a 10-minute walk, and rather than get in the car, I just like to walk down the road to get the back cracked and just to keep moving. But yeah, it was a crazy time. There was another time where I'm going into this pub with two kids that I used to know from college. Neither of them can fight. And there's three guys in there, all pretty hefty, and they start giving me some, and I'm thinking, right, which one am I going to have to hit first here? Because if this gets naughty, I'm going to have to throw the first one, and I'm going to have to drop the first one before the other two. Either we get a good kick in, or at least I'm going down trying. But that was pretty regular. It was pretty regular whenever I was out. It's probably it hasn't stopped completely even now. When you're in a pub or in Hull, that's probably one of the reasons why I've moved out of there.
Is it more from, how do you put it, more from a banter side these days because everyone's older now, and it's rather than it being a nasty response? Is it more of a banter these days?
Most of my mates will still call me Judas, and so there is a bit of that, of course.
Because obviously, you was a goal kicker in your time, so any goal kicks on the touchline as a Hull KR player, especially away at Hull FC, I would imagine it was pretty hostile.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube of that. I think there's one on YouTube. There's some good ones on YouTube, by the way. There's a scumbag one which I always find really, really funny. I think it's an iconic one, which is probably I find it hilarious that somebody can go to that length, and I think well done, sir. Well played. Yeah, it's a good one.
Any publicity is good publicity, Paul, remember?
Indeed.
Anyway, that wraps it up for Question Cookie this week. Again, if you want to ask any questions on the podcast, put them in the comments section or send us a direct message, and then the best ones will be selected for next week's episode. That wraps it up, so we're going to get straight into the NRL news.